Hello, dear viewers. It is I, your wizardy friend, come again. In today's video, I shall transport you into a more elemental realm, if you know what I mean. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Teleportation power! Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel, NutAeum. As our wizardy companion has... Oh my. Oh, sorry guys, 1 second. Whoa. The cards are already speaking. But as I was saying, as our wizardy companion has already mentioned, today we're taking a little bit of a dive into the elemental world. I'm doing it a little different today. I've seen other readers do this on the tube, and I decided to give it a shot myself. But before I explain, let me ring the singing bowl. Okay. Now, what I wanted to say was I've seen other readers do this before, where instead of you picking a card or a crystal, you pick a whole deck. So we'll be doing that today. I picked out 2 cards from each deck. It's all the same cards. It's going to be the 10 of Cups and the Star card. And I'm going to show them to you as well to help you make your decision if the backs aren't doing it for you guys. But before we get into that, I'll also explain a little bit more about the reading. Basically, we'll be looking into the elemental realms. I was inspired recently to, to kind of revisit them. So we'll be doing a little fun things. We'll have a little bit of a seashell reading as well. And yes, it will be very lighthearted and nice. So these are like messages from the elemental realms for you guys. For those of you who aren't familiar, elemental realms, that's usually where like the fairies are, like mermaid, unicorn energies, hail from there as well. And yes, but before we move on into me showing you guys the cards and telling you which, deck is what, I just wanted to do my little shameless self-plug and let you guys know that I do make custom crystal bracelets. As you see, I am wearing 2 of them on my wrist at the moment. And these are custom made to whatever it is that you're trying to bring more of into your life, or that you would like to have more of, or what you would like to focus on healing or releasing, maybe emotionally, energetically. They're all attuned with Reiki and light language as well. And most of the bracelets are very, very custom and individual. I've only made a duplicate bracelet so far for people who have requested something that looks like bracelet A or whatever. So in that case, if you guys are interested in one of those, or if you're interested in a personal private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website or my my email, which are all in the description box below. Also on my website, I do have some photos of some of the bracelets that I've made or have for myself that I made or for clients. I didn't take too many pictures of client bracelets. Like with the ones I have that I kept for myself, I've done like a little bit of photo shoot style, but the ones that have been made for clients, I don't always think to take pictures, and when I do, it's usually right after they're made. So there are a couple of those. So those are a little rough because they don't get the full photo shoot. But anyway, let us get into the reading now. Okay, so you guys have 4 decks to choose from. The first deck is the Heavenly Bloom deck, and let me show you the 10 of Cups and the Star card from this deck. Okay, and I'll set them down here as well. I don't know if you guys can see that, but hopefully it is all in frame. This is a bit of a taller deck. The second deck is the Monsoon Tarot. And this is the 10 of Cups and the Star card for this deck. Okay, The next deck is the Kawaii Tarot. And here we have the 10 of Cups and the Star. Oh, do you guys hear those birds singing? It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's perfect for the elemental reading. Okay, and then for the final deck, we have the Unseen World Tarot. And here's the 10 of Cups and the Star. I tried to pick like fantasy slash cute slash fairy tale-y tarot decks for this reading too, since I don't specifically have like fairy, mermaid, or unicorn decks, or even like dragon decks or anything. So I'm gonna silence for a moment. I will silence self so that you guys can choose your group, and the timestamps are in the description box below. So once you guys figure out what you want, we'll get right into your reading. Hey group 1, this is your group if you chose the Heavenly Bloom Tarot. I just finished shuffling your cards. I'm gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys, and we're actually gonna start with your seashell reading first. Okay, set these guys aside. So I don't have too many shells, but all of these shells were hand-picked at a beach. So I'm gonna kind of ruffle it around a little further away from the camera so it's not too loud. And we'll drop some here and we'll see what we get. I also, for this portion of the reading, have 3 aura playing cards as well. So one moment. Maybe we'll do one second. Okay, interesting. So I do want to let you guys know, I mean, you didn't see me, but when I was picking, I wasn't looking at the shells as well. So I'm seeing them with you for the first time now. So this is one of the shells. Interesting. This is another one of the shells. Okay, then we also have this little shell. I don't know if you can see the inside because my finger may have been covering it. And this shell as well. And once I interpret the shells, then we'll go into these little cards. And then we have a juicy stack for you guys. Well, it's not that juicy, but you know. Okay, give me one moment. I'm just gonna bring them closer so I can see. Okay, and so the intention here was that this is also a message from the elemental realm. I feel like right now you guys are experiencing a balancing act in your life between the logical parts of you and the more creative parts of you, or shall we say your masculine and feminine energy. There's part of you that I think has always been a perfectionist, and it's kept you from taking action in your life. And I feel like now you've sort of gotten to a point where you're being a little restless because you want to be about action as much as possible. I think you've done a good job at sort of converting this perfectionism into just being more practical about how you go about putting out or creating the things that you're creating. I think it's no longer taking away from you guys putting stuff out there, if you know what I mean. It's interesting too, because one of the first things that I noticed when I picked out your shells was that they were small. Especially here, you have this little tiny shell. I feel like there is a potential within you guys that is just waiting to be completely uncovered, and slowly, it's almost like an archaeologist. You've been dusting the sand off of this artifact, this special thing within you, refining it a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I feel like with this whole balancing act, it's really coming to the surface. I also feel like your clairaudience has been increasing. I'm feeling a sensation in my left ear. I feel like your guides are really strongly communicating with you. I don't know. I feel like you guys are going through, the word initiation comes to mind, right? But it's really like an energetic upgrade, or a form of ascension, or I don't think it's an awakening. I mean, for some of you guys, it could be an awakening, but I feel like you guys have already had your awakening. You guys have already been introduced to a more spiritual concepts and understanding, like how, like just, I think the scale of who you are as a human, as a soul, or the place that you take as a human and soul. I feel like you guys have come to that realization already. So it doesn't feel like a first time awakening. It feels more like an upgrade, like an escalation. You're taking like 10 steps up a ladder. That maybe was like a 10-year journey. Each year was a step up, but now you're kind of being propelled forward 10 steps. I'm also, so I feel like even your intuitive gifts are increasing. I'm specifically getting clairaudience, which is psychic hearing, right? So it's like whenever you hear something in passing is delivering a message to you, right? So like, it could be like you actually hear something in your mind, right? You hear like somebody talking to you. It can also be you hearing messages through music, and say you have a question or you're thinking about something and then somebody walks by you don't know and they're talking with a friend and they're talking about that thing. That's also clairaudience. So I feel like you guys, your clairaudience is activating, and as we're speaking you hear sirens in the background, right? So it's another noise. So I feel like because your clairaudience is becoming stronger, it's also indicating that your hearing is probably becoming more sensitive. So if you can, try to watch things on lower volume. It's okay to wear noise canceling headphones if you're on a really noisy train. I think your sensitivities are increasing. And with this one as well, yeah, whenever I see this shell, it also makes me think of an initiation in some form, because something about this little shape makes me think of a staff. So it's like a spiritual staff. So the fact that you have this balance, because even here, like when I was mentioning the divine masculine for this, it's not that it was giving off complete or masculine energy. It's not that it was giving off masculine energy per se. I just think that it was giving off the divine masculine consciousness. And this was giving the divine feminine consciousness. Divine masculine conscious, or like the concepts of divine masculine consciousness. I mean, I may not be speaking or saying it correctly, but this is just how I'm, how I can verbally portray it to you. It makes me think of sacred geometry and spiritual sciences, right? Even manifestation, alchemy, those kinds of things. That's like, alchemy is like a spiritual science, I guess you could say. Sacred geometry is, and the golden ratio, those are like spiritual maths that also exist in, modern science on some level, I suppose. I think they use the golden ratio too. Or they talk about the golden ratio. We're talking in a spiritual sense. I'm getting off topic. But yes, so this is very strongly giving off vibes of that, like the sacred geometry. It's just everything is coming into alignment. You're bringing in a unison of yourself, and that's because it's almost like your ascension or your awakening. Not, I keep saying awakening, but I don't mean like your initial awakening, but like that next level, it's like calling you. And I think that's why you're propelling 10 steps forward. Okay, now let's take a look at these 3 aura cards. So we have the 3 of diamonds, we have the jack of clubs, and the jack of hearts. Oh, you have 2 jacks. Okay, so give me a moment. Yeah, even here, so I'm gonna actually rearrange these cards. Here we go. So the fact that you have 2 jacks, right? That means they're equal. They're the same thing, but they're just different elements. This gives off such a feminine vibe. There's something more soft about this card, whereas this one is making me think of like the higher chakras, but also the masculine, right? The spiritual masculine energy. And this is like the lower chakras. And it kind of makes me think of the process of a kundalini rising, right? The Shakti energy, it's like in the sacral chakra, though some people say kundalini rises from the sacral, some people say it's from the root. It encompasses all chakras, so I'm assuming it's the root. But it's like Shakti, which lives in the sacral chakra, right? Like that Shakti energy is in the sacral chakra on some level. Meeting Shiva, which is in the 3rd eye. I mean, it goes beyond those chakras as well, but that's kind of like the serpent energy of Shakti rises to the 3rd eye of Shiva. So that's the divine feminine and divine masculine. And the 3rd eye, it's like consciousness, right? It's awakening. So that's why I was saying it's almost like you guys, like that energy is coming into balance. And the fact that we have a 3 and we have this like Trinity here, right? Holy Trinity. But the 3 of diamonds is about collaboration. It's like working together. So again, I feel like this is talking about the same thing, where it's like those things are coming into a balance, and that is leading you to your ascension. Okay. Or to this like next evolution. So that's kind of nice. Alrighty. Now, let us get into your cards. Like I said, I have already pre-shuffle them. Let me just put these shells away. So in the cards, we're getting messages from the elemental realm, as well as like a message or 2 from the heavens and from the angels. Let me just take a sip of water, you guys, because hydration is, well, I was going to come up with something witty, but I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't think of anything. So just one sec. Okay, so we'll start out with the elemental realm messages, and that will be with your tarot cards. And we have the Ace of Cups. This is a beautiful card. The 7 of Swords. The 3 of Cups. You guys have a lot of 3 energy. The 9 of Wands. The 6 of Swords. The oh yeah, the Knight of Cups. Sorry, I was like, I have forgotten what these cards, like what that term, what the sun is. The 9 of Cups. And you guys are getting a lot of water energy too, a lot of cups. The 3 of Cups, again. And then these are oracle cards, but you know what? We'll include them with this portion of the reading. We have the hummingbird and the camel. And then we'll get into the other oracle cards after. Alrighty, guys, give me one moment to see what your message from the elemental realm is. Okay, off the bat, I almost feel like they're asking you to be happy. it's like, I feel like you guys are kind of, you've been happy, you know, and then maybe that's also why the masculine energy shell has started highlighting more. And I was saying, like, you've learned how to utilize it in a way that's benefiting you. But I feel like maybe you're dabbling a little too much. Like, actually, no, you're still balancing out. I feel like their message here is they're asking you to just be more joy, like get out of the practicality and like the work, you know, like this is the next step and this is the next step. And they're just saying, like, it's okay to frolic in the flowers sometimes. Like, you've been doing really good with taking the steps. So don't stress about, wow, I'm like losing my train of thought. I really feel like they're just asking you to like feel joy and be relaxed and just kind of like stop thinking. So I guess that's the same thing, right? We were just talking about you planning the next step and the next step, and like, and though you're not doing the whole perfectionist thing that's like holding you from taking action, but like you're planning 10 steps ahead or like 5 steps ahead, and you're taking those actions, and it's like you're doing really good. It's okay to take a break. You don't lose progress when you take a break. You don't delay progress when you take a break. And maybe you should make sure that you schedule in more frequent breaks in your like 10-step plan to make sure that like you don't burn out in the process, that you have fun as well, right? Because you're doing something that's supposed to be beneficial to you. So why does it have to be boring? Why does it have to be dull or a chore? If you have fun at the same time, like if you give yourself breaks for fun and just like going out in nature, like really it feels like clearing your mind where you don't think, okay? Because you guys are running the risk a little bit here of doing so much heavy thinking that it makes you mentally tired, but also it'll be keeping you up a little bit at night. So I feel like they're really kind of giving you a bit more of advice of go, have fun, play, relax. You're not losing progress, right? This 9 of Wands is saying like you are not losing progress. You're still going to be successful. But it's important for you to like go out and have fun. And I think you know that. Like, I don't think I'm speaking to a wall here. You know, like some people are resistant to this kind of message, but I feel like you guys, like I said, you guys have been working on bringing a balance into your life in general. It's just, I think maybe in the last few weeks, like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks or 5 weeks even, it could be for some of you, you guys have been prioritizing more like standard definition of the word progress. And it's like you're getting to this place where you're almost at a slippery slope for like tipping the scales a little too much, that you're not getting like that joy and relaxation in as well, and kind of like free. It just feels like ease, like freedom, you know, like kind of like that, as if you're going in a park sitting under a tree. And maybe that's something that you guys should do if you are in a part of the world where the weather allows it, right? Because I know that depending on if you're below the equator or above it, like above the equator, we're going through spring, or we're approaching spring. Actually, we are in spring, technically. And below the equator, it's already going into fall. So it's whatever, you know, the weather allows. But if you can go to a park and like sit under a tree or by a tree, maybe even just touch some trees, take a nice stroll. Even if you go during fall, right, for a stroll in the park, that could actually be really lovely too, because the leaves are falling if you have trees, so like around you, depending on, again, where you live. But yeah, it can be a beautiful time. And I feel like the elemental realm, it is nature, you know, it lives, it exists in nature. So I even feel like they're calling you to be like, hey, just come and let us hold you for a little bit. And again, like I was saying, I don't think that this is something that is new to you guys. I feel like you've already been trying to balance it. And this is just a little bit of a reminder that you'll be like, oh, you know what? I was maybe starting to think that I should balance it. And here's Milka channeling through like, oh, yes, that is what you should be doing. You know, it was a guided message. You picked it up clairaudiently. Maybe you even heard somebody say, just rest, relax, or like talking about a spa or something. You guys need a little bit of a break, you know, to go out, have some fun. And I don't even mean like go clubbing or something, though that could be, I mean, some people's way of relaxing, but it just feels like really gathering with like a group of friends that maybe, or even if it's just that one friend that you have that brings you a lot of joy to be around, you know, that you feel like, oh yes, this person is like soul family, you know, just like coming together, maybe going for like some tea or something, you know, like it's soothing, it's fun, it's lighthearted, and it's like a step away from constantly thinking about moving forward, right? Or progress in the material sense. Any other messages I'm getting here? Yeah, the Three of Cups came up twice, you guys. Threes are really big with you. And you know, at some point I looked at the clock and I saw 3:03. So 3 is about communication. It's creativity, communication. It is also socializing, right? It's like being a social butterfly. So I feel like, again, it's like that emphasis of friends, right? Like, look, this person is meeting up with their friends. And there's just this happiness here with the 9 of Cups, and because it can be a little too easy to get consumed in work, I think, when you're doing your step-by-step process. So I feel like you've gotten to a point where you're doing good, even if maybe you think like, oh, but I haven't done too much. You know, I've only done the outline. I haven't actually started coloring in the picture. Well, the outline took energy and time, a lot more energy than most people would think. So take a breather and then go back to coloring in, okay? Yeah, even with the hummingbird, it's like, again, they're just saying, I feel like you going, there's like this, and with the camel too, it's like relaxation and healing, right? So the hummingbird, I feel like you guys going out into the world and into nature right now is going to be so refreshing, and it's just what the doctor ordered. You know, you guys, again, it's like you need a break. So I'm not saying you need like a week break where you need to go on vacation or something, but if you can take like a day where you just kind of stop all work and just go out to the park, have fun, go for tea, like just feel the things that, it's a little indulgent, right? But it's fun for you. So those kinds of things, it's actually, sometimes indulgence is good, okay? But let's get into the next portion of your reading. Okay. So additional messages from the elemental realm. We have medicine of the butterfly Kachina, Palikmana. We also have chimpanzee. Use both your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem or get answers to your questions. Oh my, you guys, it says both your intuition and intellect. The whole thing that we keep talking about with you guys so far is the balance, right? Between the masculine and feminine energies, especially like spiritual masculine and spiritual feminine, because that would be more like the intellectual, the sciences, the mathematics, the logical things, and then the creativity and fun, you know? So I think this is so interesting that we keep talking about this balance, you know? And it's like to use both to solve the problem, right? And it's like, if you're feeling like you're at a plateau, it's because maybe you need a break. If you're feeling like, for whatever reason, now progress, no matter how much you're putting in, is a little slower, it's because y'all need a break, okay? And this 6 is really making me think of like, again, it's like the heart. That's what I was saying. It's going to feel like a freedom when you just go out for that one day. If you can do it 2 days, maybe, you know, or like one, and then like the next day too, or the day after that, go out, have some fun, go into nature. We also have druid with hold the space. Lady with enjoy growth and reap rewards. So I think this is really interesting, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then High Priestess with Harness Mystic Power. So these are elemental stuff. And then we've got, this one is a message from the heavens, right? We have the initiation, rite of passage, you are going somewhere sacred. And then the messages from the angels, which are innocence. It says, beloved one, everyone is guiltless in truth, and no one can alter God's hard handiwork of perfection. Give us your feelings of heaviness so we can lighten your load. Give us any guilt, anger, or blame that may shroud your loving outlook. Enjoy the peace within your heart once more. We also have joy. Joy is the highest energy of all. It's the magical sense that everything is possible. Joy springs from appreciating the gifts within each moment. Joy allows you to attract and create your present and future moments at their highest possible levels. And we have, for the final card, Jophiel with Let Nature Heal You. Oh, what? Oh my goodness. I mean, yes, we had the synchronicities with joy and all of this stuff, but let nature heal you, okay? I was literally just saying that. And the initiation, yes, we talked, the cards are just doing their thing, you know, they're carding. So what I was saying about the druid and the lady that I thought was fascinating. So it's funny because the druid, it's like, maybe some of you guys are even like, because I keep saying spiritual masculine, right? Like divine masculine. It doesn't necessarily feel like just masculine, like material world, masculine energy stuff. So maybe you guys are like learning a lot about like sacred geometry, or like looking into those things, looking into the divine masculine aspects of spirituality. And like maybe you're learning a lot right now too. And I feel like they're saying like with learning, you still need to take a break. So it's interesting that the divine masculine is more of the spiritual form, right? Because there's also a lord, but you have lady here. So lady is more material world. So you have the spiritual form of a masculine and the material form of a feminine here, you know, coming together. So again, this kind of makes me think of the Kundalini too, right? Because the Kundalini, like when they say about Shakti and Shiva energy, like Shakti is in the sacral chakra. That's one of the three earthly chakras. And then the Shiva is in the third eye, which is one of the three like heavenly or heavenly or higher chakras. And the druid is speaking of that, right? So I think it's really interesting how you guys keep getting the same parallel. So I feel like you guys have been doing too much of this. And it's like, again, the same reminder, come back to the feminine, come back to being in the present, not just planning ahead, but being in the present. Nature will help you with that. Like no thoughts, just kind of, it's almost like you're doing a meditation by walking through a park, right? Just absorb the nature, look at the little birds, look at the trees, okay? And the high priestess here, again, because I feel like these two are correlated and then this is the separate message here. And I'm feeling like with the high priestess, again, they're talking about this initiation. Because on the bottom of this deck, you actually see priestess too. How are you being called to step up and lead? But yes, like the priestess energy is making me think, it's almost like, yes, you're gaining here, but now you're bringing that feminine. It's again, it's like a balancing thing, and that's leading to an ascension or the next step up, right? Because even here, they're sort of looking like steps with the rock without being actual steps. And it says rite of passage, you're going somewhere sacred. You know, I feel like this is all very much kind of delivering the same message. And then from the angels, apart from let nature heal you, which I mean is incredible because that's exactly what we've been saying with the whole reading. But with these two cards, I almost feel like they're asking you again to find that soft part of you. So the joy we already talked about, right? It's about finding that happiness. But with the innocence, again, it's like really making me think of like seeing little birds and looking at like seeing children in the park, like finding the joy and beauty in the pure and innocent beings. You know, I feel like that's going to be nurturing too as well. It's kind of like soothing in a sense. And let's get a final message with our dice. So give me one sec, guys. All right, we've got the number 13, 11, Scorpio, and the South Node. Interesting. 13 is death. South Node is the past. 11 is transformation, and Scorpio is transformation as well. So death also talks about transformation. And the South Node, again, it's like the past. So I feel like you guys really are going through an ascension. So even the emotions that you're feeling, even if you're feeling bogged down and stuff, just know that's genuinely part of the process. Okay, that is actually part of your ascension process, and most people too. So you guys are not in the wrong. Like, you haven't done anything bad. You haven't missed an opportunity. You haven't been neglecting yourself because you're hearing this message and you're like, oh, I should have thought about the break before. Like, no, it's okay. It was all part of the process. You know, constant work in progress. And you guys are on the right path, since you are currently on the road to this high, like this next level upgrade, right? But yeah, that was your reading, group 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know if it was short or not. It kind of felt like it was short. I'm not sure. But yes, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate if you love this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below, you guys. Have you been experiencing this? Like, is it the, you know, the ascension thing? Do you feel that coming? Have you been like needing to take a break? Have you been putting too much focus on progress or learning, right? And putting in effort, as opposed to just kind of taking a moment to sit back and relax. Also, I do have more videos on my channel if you guys are interested in other types of readings. And I would appreciate if you guys supported the channel by subscribing as well, as I do have more fun stuff planned. And again, for those of you guys who are interested in a custom crystal bracelet or a personal private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website or through my email, which are all in the description box below. Wow, you guys, your reading really took me out. Like, I'm having such a hard time focusing now. I just have, like, it's like my mind is blank. I really feel like they're really trying to emphasize, like, just go and do. All right, group 1, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sending you guys so much love and light. Bye, you guys. May you have a wonderful morning, noon, afternoon, or evening, or however it would go. Bye, guys. Hi, group 2. This is your group if you chose the Monsoon. Is it what? Sorry, guys, the Monsoon. I was like, Monsoon. That doesn't seem right, so I had to check the box. It's the Monsoon Tarot. I'm going to set your deck aside as I have already just finished shuffling your cards. We're actually going to start from the seashell reading first, but I'm going to ring the singing bowl for you. These are the shells I have. It doesn't look like a lot, but there are little ones in there too. So I'm just gonna set this to the side as I kind of shuffle through them. I won't be looking at them, so we'll see them together. But for this portion of the reading, I also got 3 aura playing cards as well, which we'll look into after we interpret the shells. And also, I just wanted to let you guys know, in this reading, we also have messages from the elemental realm mainly, but also a couple of angel messages and one message from the heavens. Okay, guys, so give me one moment. I'm just trying to see one thing. So I pull out the shells, but there's something I wanted to see first. One second, guys. Okay, that's what I thought. There was another shell that wanted to come out. I guess it is a broken shell, so it is 2 halves of 1 shell. It's a little sad. Now I kind of feel like I'm mourning the loss of this whole shell. Yeah, this was all 1 shell. And was this part of it? Or was this a separate shell? No, this was a separate shell. So here we have the shell. Okay. And then we also have this little tiny, oh my gosh. Everything's breaking. I feel like you guys are in mourning. Okay, we have this other shell. Then we have this shell as well. Okay. And this shell. I was wondering if this one would come out for you guys. And then we have this shell as well. Okay. Give me a moment, guys, to take a look at the shells a little closer, and I'll let you know what I'm seeing, okay? I feel like there's a bit of a mending of a broken heart here. I almost feel like you guys are mourning something. So I feel like you guys are in a vulnerable state right now where maybe you've cried a lot and you're trying to like calm down from it. I also just feel like because you've been in this vulnerable state and you've been releasing a lot of emotion, even if maybe you don't feel it, maybe you're like, really? Like, I've just been really emotional or tired and crying and kind of sad at times and like, you know, melancholy. I feel like you guys are actually like shining right now, almost like you've been cleaned, you know, really thorough, like dusted, you know, and cleaned, and so now you're kind of shiny. It feels like you're even more beautiful now too, because, and this is something that you guys I don't think are gonna feel like at all. Okay, you're not gonna feel that way, but I'm saying this because from experience over the last how many years, I've noticed that when people are in this vulnerable state, when they're really emotional, there's something about them that is so pure. And I feel like this is the shell that's talking about that purity and that beauty, right? And that's because you guys are releasing, and because you're vulnerable, basically what's happening is that shell has been cracked open. The emotions are kind of surging out of you. Maybe it started over one thing and then it kind of started leading into other emotions that were buried in you or that are still coming out of you. And because you guys are releasing, you're being vulnerable, right? You're a little fragile at the moment. But when somebody is vulnerable, it's because they also lower their walls. So you can see the true beauty of their soul. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on with you guys. It almost feels like you guys are kind of releasing and you're trying to figure out a way to restructure your life. You're like, okay, now I have to kind of figure out what I'm going to be doing next, how I'm going to be going about it next. Okay? Like you guys are coming into a place where you're going to start getting fixed soon, or like finding a way to keep going forward. All right, you guys, now let's take a look at your cards. We have the Ace of Diamonds, which is interesting, the Two of Clubs, and the King of Clubs. Okay. So the reason I said the Ace of Diamonds is interesting is because the Ace of Diamonds is talking about the material world. It's like a first step, right, into material things. And I feel like that's what we were just talking about. It's kind of like now you guys are kind of approaching this time to kind of take action or take the steps to sort of start moving forward and creating a progress in your life, you know, to getting yourself out of here. So even to that, I say, like, you see, you guys weren't, it's not like you fell in a ditch and you're stuck there. It's like you fell in a ditch, you're crying about it a little bit, and then you start figuring out a way to get out, you know? Even with this Two of Clubs, it's like, this is your mind at work, and this is your soul shining, okay? It may not, and I'm telling you, I don't feel like you guys are gonna feel that. You're not gonna think, oh, I'm glowing right now. You know, it's not the kind of glow that you get when you're super hydrated and you've got a super restful night of sleep. It's a different kind of a glow. It's like a purity that comes from vulnerability. Or a purity that only being vulnerable will allow people to see. Yes, that's what I meant to say. And I almost feel like this is a message of hope with the King of Clubs, kind of saying like, okay, for some of you guys, I feel like it's a message from somebody on the other side. Because remember, we did talk about mourning. So it could be, it feels like a masculine energy. It could be a father, grandfather. It could be a woman too that just had more of an assertive energy. Or a very strong prominence in your life. But yeah, I feel like they're also coming through saying like, everything is going to be okay. Everything is okay. You know, it's okay. Like I'm just hearing like, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. And for those of you who haven't, who aren't, you know, experiencing a loss of somebody, I also feel like it's kind of a message of hope still, saying like, things are going to start, like you're going to start feeling motivated and passionate and happy again. Like with this club energy, that's like a bit of fire, you know, there's enthusiasm associated with it, and it's going to come back. Okay. You guys just have to kind of go through the steps to get there, you know, and this is part of the steps. Okay. Now, give me a sec, y'all. I'm just going to gently place the shells back. Oh, you know what? I thought that the shells were broken, but I just thought they just recently broke, but I realized I actually put a broken shell in there on purpose. I just remembered that. Okay, now let's get into your cards. All right, let's start with the messages from the elemental realm. We'll start with tarot. We've got the, oh wow, look at this hermit card. We've got the Hermit. This is such an interesting hermit card. And this deck is cool too, because this deck is based, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe in the Queen of Pentacles, off of Japanese fairy tales. The Ace of Cups. Justice. The Nine of Cups. Interesting. You guys are getting some of the cards that are similar to group one. You have the Three of Wands. The Emperor. Again, there's that like masculine energy, but it doesn't have to be, for those of you who have experienced a loss, it doesn't have to be a male figure per se. It could be a woman with like a bit of like an assertive or joyous, like some kind of a passionate energy. The Three of Cups. The Spider. Firefly. Wow, what did I say? Didn't I literally was just talking about how you guys are glowing. And the Cosmic Egg. All right, give me a moment. We're gonna set these aside for the next, you know, portion of the reading. Let's just start with these. Okay. Alrighty, alrighty. Give me one sec, y'all. Yeah, with the Hermit, so this is the message from the elemental realm. I almost feel like they're actually asking you to continue to take time to yourself. Like right now, again, they are, oh, I just got chills. Yeah, they are talking about like, yes, you are in a really vulnerable state right now and emotional. And it's almost like feeling emotionally fragile, right? Not emotional, but being emotionally fragile. And it's time for you to start doing little things for yourself to help you to start getting a little or feeling a little better, okay? So doing things like, I said this in the last couple of readings because it helped me personally. For me, this feels like self-care, but like creating maybe a skincare routine, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be a skincare routine. It could be some other kind of a thing where you are nurturing your body. Like maybe if you like cooking, you start cooking healthy meals for yourself. You know, if you want something sweet, you get like a yogurt or a dairy-free yogurt, mix that with some cacao powder and add some fresh berries to it. And instead of having like milk chocolate or some kind of like pastry, you're now having this, and it satisfies the craving and it feels good in your body, you know? Or like giving yourself a massage, using a gua sha, taking a bath. This feels more material, like physical world kind of nurturing, right? So it's not just like reading a book or something. This feels like actually doing something for yourself. So maybe it's like doing a hair mask, right? Putting oils in your hair, or scalp massage. Maybe it is going to a spa and being taken care of physically, right? Like through massage or body scrub by somebody else, you know? Like I'm just seeing they're advising you to be nurtured by yourself or by going somewhere where they do that. I'm not talking about going to relatives for being nurtured, because then you're taking in their energy and it's kind of, you're still, because they're related to you and you're in an emotionally fragile place and energetically it's a little, you know, fragile because of your emotions. Relatives may not be the best bet because we take on, right, what relatives feel or experiencing or saying a little more because of the bond that we have over them being our relatives. So that's why if you're going to be going to somebody for this kind of nurturing for yourself, it would be like going to a spa or something along those lines, okay? They're saying this emotional release is also nourishment for your soul too. Like it's been a long time coming, you guys. This is actually a mark of progress. Things are going to start looking up, right? Like right now you're going through this time, this reflection period, this grieving period for some of you. Just, it could be grieving a person, grieving a situation, the past, right? It doesn't have to be a death. It could be that somewhat like a breakup or something, but there's some kind of a grieving involved. And it's like now it's like they're asking you to start doing this nurturing so that you can slowly but surely start making yourself whole again, right? It's about the sensation of feeling whole. That's why I say it could also have been a breakup for some of you guys, you know, because it's easy to be in a relationship and take on the personality of that other person and to feel like, oh, you know, we are one, right? We are one. But really, no, like you are one. You are one and whole. So it's like bringing that back to you. And again, there's like a Jupiter here, right? And the 9 of water, like you see how much nourished this person is. Like whenever I see the Queen of Earth, I always think of self-nourishing, especially because you have the Hermit here. You see this person is taking rest. They're taking rest, reflecting, they're writing in their journal. It feels like a physical thing that you guys have got to do. So maybe it is something like I was saying, taking a bath, writing in a journal, like lighting a candle or some incense and writing in a journal, making yourself some hot cocoa or tea, whatever you find soothing. And then look how happy and content this person is afterwards. And she's in water, and this water is balanced, and it's so balanced that these paper boats are able to float on it without like tipping over because they're small, right? So, and there are clouds in the water. It's like the mind has come into balance with the emotions, and there's just fulfillment, right? So, and it's coming. It's just, there's this release that's happening first. Okay. And I almost feel like they're trying to encourage you to focus on the fact that like good times are coming, right? And to realize that you're not alone. I feel like there is some kind of an energy that is cloaking you. So for those of you who have lost somebody, it's like that person is still with you and they're like cloaking you, you know? Their presence is cloaking you, like protecting you while you're in this vulnerable state. For others of you, I just feel like it could be your guides, and they're saying like, hey, we're here. And it is partially the elemental world, right? Because this is the message from the elemental realm. So I even feel like they're here, like trying to talk to you and letting you guys know, right? It's like, hey, I'm here, we're here. Like, we're supporting you. Or they're actually below here. Like, we're here, we're supporting you, you know? And for those of you who have lost somebody, it's that person. Like, I'm here, I'm supporting you. And the Emperor is giving off that, like, vibe. So I really just feel like they're trying to give you messages of encouragement and to be like, hey, it's okay. You're going to get through this. Don't worry. Okay? Even with the spider, it's like, this is something like creating a web, creativity, right? Like maybe for you guys, it could be painting, and that feels like another form of expression. But the spider is making me think like it's going to take a little bit of time. You're weaving this web of healing, of moving on. But it's going to take a little bit of time. And creativity is going to be key to helping you guys. Like, it's one of the keys to helping you guys feel like that emotional nurturing, you know? With the firefly, again, it's kind of like you guys may not see it, but because of all of the releasing that you're doing, because all of those emotions that were held in your body for so long, they were lowering your energy. They were kind of keeping you in an energetic state that wasn't the highest. Oh, listen to those birds. Oh, they're so sweet. Oh, I love bird songs. But like that's the point, you know? It's like because you've been releasing that, now you're glowing. And again, this is reaffirming what I was saying. It's like you guys are that glowing egg and you are being protected. The elemental realm, your guides, your team, God, the universe, right? You are being protected. So it's like, or that past loved one for some of you. So I feel like they're saying, though you're taking this alone time, just know you are not alone. Okay, you've got us. We're here. We're supporting you. Okay, guys? And oh, you know what? The lion was peeking through at some point, and the lion, again, is giving me that, like, energy of that king of clubs and that emperor, and it's just basically that, like, that energy that I was mentioning of somebody else, or like your team or your guides coming through, right? And I almost feel like if this is another person, it's that person. And if it's not a person, then it's your guides and your team coming through, like saying you have a strong foundation. Like you have a strong group surrounding you. A strong person if it's the person. And for those of you who haven't lost somebody, it's like your team. Your whole team is saying like you've got a whole crew like protecting you, surrounding you. Okay, now let me see what else we've got here with the other cards. 1 second, you guys. Okay, so we've got the precious and rare with Panthera, number 30. We have a boar with face your problems head on with confidence and courage, and you will emerge victorious. We also have a cardinal. The polarities of your spiritual pursuits and physical pleasures are out of balance, so do whatever is necessary to bring them back into equilibrium. She-wolf, unleash the wild within. Shield maiden, make plans and focus. The ever-unfolding rose, cracked open, it's happening for you, not to you. Interesting. Steady progress. We acknowledge you for the progress you've made in remembering love in your daily activities. We can clearly see the contribution you're making to the world through your thoughts, feelings, and actions of love. Life purpose. The purpose of your life is to serve in a way that brings great joy to yourself and others. Don't worry about finding your purpose. Instead, focus upon serving a purpose, and then your purpose will serve you. Then you guys have Michael, boldly go. Wow. Oh, I got chills. And Camuel, today, find joy. All right, you guys, let me move these up so that we can get these all in frame. Okie dokie. So, it's interesting because I feel like you guys are getting a lot of encouragement in your group, right? For those of you, again, who've lost somebody, this cardinal is coming through as that person is still here. They're still here with you guys, okay? And it's interesting. There's a lot of feline energy for you guys. We have the lion, we have a panther, right? And a panther is seen as like an individual, like it's a feline that is, it tends to be on its own. Like you don't see a pack of panthers, you know? So again, it's almost like walking that path, kind of taking a few steps physically on your own. But it's because you needed to have that isolation to kind of have the release that we were talking about, right? With the boar, again, it kind of just feels like they're asking you to pick yourself back up. With the she-wolf and the shield maiden, again, it's talking about like you guys are safe. And this vulnerability is making you be more expressive, right? This vulnerability that we kept talking about is making you be more expressive. So it almost feels like you guys aren't holding back. Like you're just letting things out. You're letting things go and you're being more true to yourself. And again, it's almost like it's unfortunate how things can, like big things and big shifts can come through some kind of a loss or grief or basically this feeling like we're sacrificing something. But it is kind of what that is, you know? We are releasing something so that we can make room for something more, for something new. You're also releasing a burden to come back to the true you. You're taking off it's like taking off a piece of clothing and coming to like that naked, bare version of you, right? And I feel like that's kind of what's happening for you. You no longer need those emotions to protect you because your guides are there for that. And if things seem to kind of be in a rut right now, just know it's part of the process. You're overcoming it. You're not alone. You're not handling it on your own. Okay, group 2. And remember we were talking about with the spider, it's almost like it's a progress, but it's taking some time. So that's what the steady progress is talking about too. And I feel like this is the key to you living a fulfilling life, right? I mean, I think anybody who's living authentically is living a fulfilling life. And I feel like you guys are going to that path where you're going to be just living your soul's expression. But in order to do that, again, you guys had to have this release. So I feel like they're saying, find the joy in the little things that you can, like that self-nurturing and all of that. And just know that you are moving forward, and start to move forward by taking care of yourself. Okay, guys? And again, it's like you are moving forward. You are making progress. It's not one thing went wrong and now all things are going wrong. It's just one thing went wrong and some things got a little rocky, but it's okay. And I just saw 404, you know. It's like you have angels with you. Even though this is an elemental reading, right? The elemental beings are with you, and then so are the angels. You have a really strong team, because with the lion, it was talking about having a pride, right? Having a large pride. Like lions they roam in pride. So you have a large team, a large energetic group of beings that are just surrounding you, comforting you, and consistently trying to show you, like, hey, we're here. Okay, let's get our final message. We have the North Node, we have Scorpio, 10 and 12. 12 is about moving on, right? It's the 12th house, which is Pisces. That's the last sign in the zodiac. It's about, there is a sense of vulnerability with Pisces, because you need to have a sense of you need to have a specific type of sensitivity in order to be able to tap into the unseen. And Pisces is, one of the things that Pisces is like living in the world of the unseen, in a higher realm, in a different realm. Sorry guys, I was drinking some water. With the 10, again, it's kind of making me think of like you really stepping out into the world and shining like a bright light. The 10th house is the highest point in the astrology chart. It is where we shine, essentially. So people associate it with career, but I'm getting it as your purpose right now. And that's just you shining. It's like that little firefly, right? The Scorpio energy, again, it's like the transformation. It landed on the she-wolf, where it's here around the she-wolf, right? And North Node, I forgot about this. The North Node, just like I was saying, the 10th house, it's like, for whatever reason, I'm getting this is more so about your mission, like your purpose, right? It's than like career so much. But it's like, yes, the North Node it's the thing that you're striving for in this lifetime. And like you guys are on the path to there. It's just, think of this as almost like an emotional death and rebirth for you guys. That's why you've been so sensitive, okay? But yes, that was your reading group 2. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. I know that whatever you're going through must have felt really difficult. If you want to share, you know, I do my best to reply to all comments, even if it takes a little bit of time sometimes. Also, I'd appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel and supported the channel in that way too, as I've got more content coming out as well. And for those of you that were interested in either a custom crystal bracelet or a private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website, or through my email, which are all in the description box below. All right, group 2, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light, okay? I love you, group 2. Bye, guys. Hey, group 3, this is your group if you chose the Kawaii Tarot. I just finished shuffling your cards. I'm gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys. And before we get into your cards, we're actually going to be doing the seashell reading. I've got my seashells here, okay? I also shuffled out 3 aura playing cards for you guys, which we'll look at after the seashell reading together for the first time, okay? So I'm gonna I'm gonna sift through the seashells. I'm not gonna look at them when I'm going through them. It's just whatever I feel like is calling to be pulled out, and we'll see them together on the table for the first time, because like I said, I won't be looking when I'm sifting through them. Okay, so let's see what you guys got. Okay, there's this shell. There's this one too. You guys so far have gotten bigger shells than the last two groups. There's this shell. Okay, and then there's this shell. Look how beautiful the inside is. Alrighty guys, give me 1 second. I am gonna move the shells a little closer to myself so that I can see them better. Okay. First of all, I just want to say I feel like you guys are such a beautiful person inside and out, and you've got one of the most incredible hearts. I'm also hearing that you guys have a killer sense of humor. Killer as in people can really laugh a lot to the point where they're like, oh, I can't breathe, oh, like that. Yeah, you guys have a very special soul. I feel like in the past, some of you could still be going through it, to be honest with you. But I do feel like a lot of you guys have started moving on from it. But you've had this ailment of not seeing how great you are, which, to be honest, I wouldn't say that that's uncommon. I feel like, you know, a lot of people don't really see their worth, but I feel like you guys are so special. You guys are such a light in this world, and you really felt everything but that growing up. I feel like you guys had to grow up really young too. There's something about you that is very serene and calming and nurturing. Regardless of gender, it almost feels a little bit like a divine feminine energy, right? Where it is nurturing. You guys may lean more towards the arts and creativity and fantasy, being more like in a dream world. And I wouldn't say you're in a dream world as much now, maybe. Well, okay, some of you are. But I do feel like those of you that aren't, that used to be your past, now you're kind of less in the dream world, more trying to make your life feel like the dream world, okay? I feel like you guys have shed a lot of layers also. You guys have shed a lot of layers, and I think that's another reason why now you guys are even more beautiful than you've ever been before. Like maybe you look at baby pictures and you were like, I was so much prettier as a kid, but it's like, no, you were beautiful as a child, yes, but who you are now, the magnitude, the energy, that nurturing vibe, everything that you give off is so much more beautiful than anyone could have ever fathomed for you, and it only grows in beauty. So you're actually going to be, hearing that you're beautiful too, okay? Like I'm getting like you're kind, you're beautiful. Like you're gonna start getting those compliments, okay? Because it's well, first of all, it's been time, right? But it's because people can't help but feel that about you when they're in your presence. You have such an incredible and nurturing, kind heart. It even, oh yeah, look, if you look at the bottom here, it kind of looks like a heart. And this is a shell that's been through a lot, right? It's almost like a fossil. But it's still here and it's still transmuting, okay, into something special constantly. And for the other groups, I put the shells away right away, but I kind of feel like I should leave your shells out. You guys have one of the most unique decks, I would say, in the sense that you guys chose a deck that is super cartoony, right? It's super joyful, it's super silly, it's cute. Wait. Now let's look at your cards. We have the Queen of Clubs, the Six of Clubs, and the Nine of Swords. This is out of order, I feel like. Okay. Give me one sec, guys. I need to take a sip of water. Okay, y'all. I feel like the message here, it's interesting because with this Nine of Spades, I'm getting like self-doubt, right? Like distress over like, I'm not pretty. Like I'm really hearing that like a lot, like I'm not pretty, almost like someone crying at night because they're not beautiful, or they're, I don't know if it's overweight, or they feel like they're ugly, or maybe you guys have had relatives who are self-conscious and they've projected those things onto you, or maybe somebody said something in school when you were younger, but this feels like somebody who's cried over something like that, over not being enough, not being beautiful enough, not being special enough, not being like something enough, you know? And especially I feel like something about the looks, you know? And I almost feel like you guys take compliments to your personality as in like, oh, okay, so my personality makes up for my looks. But it's like, no, you guys have both. You guys have both, okay? You're not the same person that you were before. And honestly, I don't think you guys were ever really like not beautiful. I don't think you guys were ever ugly, you know? I just think this was a perception, and some people, when they're told, oh, beauty marks are, like if they have a relative, right? If a kid has a relative who was told by their parent that beauty marks only take up space because they feel insecure about their beauty marks, that adult is now going to tell the child the same thing. You know, oh, cover up your beauty mark with makeup. And so that child is going to start covering up that beauty mark. And it's going to go look and see a child who's just walking around, you know, face without makeup, fully living their life with a beauty mark, and go, ew, beauty marks are ugly, you know? It's like, no, they're not ugly. Like some people even go as far as drawing them when they don't have them. It's just that child was taught by somebody who was taught to like suppress it or think of it as ugly, and so they hide that part of themselves. And when they see somebody walking around freely with something that they've had, that they were told they're not allowed to have, or they're not allowed to be or express, you know, it's like it triggers them, and they project their own, like what they were taught, what they were wrongfully taught onto others. Okay. And I feel like you guys were crying over a lot of that. It wasn't that you guys were actually ugly or anything like that. It was those kids were, you know, living in the standards that their parents had set for them and projecting them onto others because on some level they subconsciously felt like it wasn't fair. Okay. That being said, it's like, this is the past. Okay. This isn't you guys anymore. If you still sometimes cry about this or feel really strongly about this, just know this is not you guys anymore, because what are the two cards following? You have the Six of Clubs and the Queen of Clubs. That's like the Six of Wands and the Queen of Wands. Okay, these are like Six of Wands. First of all, Six of Clubs is a card of success. It's like fame, you know. It's almost like the recognition you didn't get before, the isolation that you felt, that loneliness, that like outcastness. Well, that's all to the side now. Like now you're shining. Now people want to look at you. You know, with the Queen of Clubs too, it's like people want to see that intention. Like, and you guys are intuitive too. Your intuition has increased since you were a kid, because you guys are starting to come back to yourselves more, right? You've worked on yourselves. So your intuition is increasing. You're able to tell the phonies from the genuine people. You're able to tell the people who would have judged you in the past when you guys were shrouded a little bit in the energy of your sadness, you know? The people who would have judged you then or insulted you then. And you're also able to see the people who would have accepted you then too. Like, you guys are very perceptive. And again, I feel like there's something super magnetic about you now. Like, that's what I'm saying. You guys are charming. You're enthusiastic. You guys have a quick wit. You're hilarious, okay? You bring light and life to the room. And above that as well, like not above that, but included with that is the fact that you guys are beautiful. Okay, group 3. All right, let's get into your actual cards now. I feel like we spent like 20 minutes or something talking about like the whole reading in that section. Okay, so you guys actually, I wonder if you guys are going to be the longest reading, because you guys actually have the most cards, and we just spent more time also talking in the intro aspect of your reading. So I feel like there's something that you guys definitely have got to hear from here. So first we'll start out with the elemental readings, the elemental messages. Towards the end, the last couple of cards are like angel messages and like a message from the heavens. But we'll start with tarot. So we've got the 8 of Wands. Wow, the Queen of Wands. We were just talking about the Queen of Clubs being the Queen of Wands. Look at that. The 3 of Cups. The 5 of Swords. The Magician. The Queen of Swords. The 8 of Cups. The 2 of Cups. Wait, the Ace of Pentacles. The 4 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, and the Stingray. And we'll get into the other cards later, but let me just align these a little bit. One sec, guys. This shell is like active. Okay. Oh, it's not just the shell. There's a stone here too. Okay, there we go. 1 second, y'all. Yeah, okay, it's interesting because I feel like the beginning portion that we went through was kind of like your past, right? But who you are now is so, I mean, you were that when you were younger too, but I feel like you're actually like becoming that more. It's not just like when you're with people. It's like, I don't know, I feel like you were one way when you were with people when you were younger, and another way when you were with like relatives and really close friends, and then another way when you were with yourself. But now it just feels like all of those ways are kind of merging into one as you become more just the expression of who you are and who you want to be. So the fact that we have the 8 of Wands and the Queen of Wands, it's like, you guys, again, like they're talking about your quick wit. Like you guys are so charming. You are so magnetic. It's like a celebrity, you know, like there's something magnetic about you. People want to keep hearing about you. They think that you're funny. They think that you're a hoot. Like people are always laughing when they're with you. Okay. You bring so much joy to other people. I feel like people would like, there are people who are around you, and if they spend some time, like if they spend like a little bit of time with you, right? And I'm not talking multiple days or something, like I'm just talking a little bit of time, like they get to know you over the past like half an hour or something, or like an hour, and they'll be like, you know what, I could date somebody like this. I would date this person, you know? Like you're just so, wow. You're so, wow. I feel like your message today, guys, is just hyping you up, really. That's funny. Yeah, it's like you guys are not that same person anymore. You know, like it's like you've been reborn, right? And into this person who's got this, I don't know, there's just something so passionate about you, you know. And with this Mother of Swords, right? This Queen of Swords and this Eight of Cups, I almost feel like this is again talking about you guys being able to discern who would have been there for you in the time when you needed them. Even now, like you guys can just tell. You guys are super intuitive. You guys have 2 owls here, okay? So even though like people see you as this like funny and like larger than life presence and energy, and like I said, you guys actually had the largest shells so far. You know, it's like your presence is huge, right? So people feel that. They feel the grandness of your presence. But what they don't realize is that underneath it, you are still like perceptive. Even though you look fun and all of this stuff and joyful and lighthearted, you're still incredibly perceptive and observant, you know? I feel like you guys have done well with working on walking away from your past. But there's... Ooh, sorry guys. That was weird. That just threw me off. Wow, that like threw me so off. Sorry about that, guys. That was the doorbell. Yeah, as I'm talking about your past, it's like the doorbell rang, right? So again, I feel like what I was about to say is you guys have done a good job at like working on walking away towards it, but I don't feel like you guys are completely done yet. And I feel like somebody could be coming back from your past, or like friends or something, and maybe that relationship ended and you guys are like, oh, maybe I could give them a chance. But it's again like, use your discernment, right? Because some of those people may not be for the best. And I feel like though you guys have moved on, it almost feels like you moved on and like, shows them, you know? But because there's this attitude of, like I'll show them, you know what I mean? Like they got me all wrong. Like they pegged me wrong or whatever, you know, like they didn't see me for who I really was. There's still a little bit of bitterness. And if there's a little bit of bitterness, it's usually because you haven't fully moved on. So I would recommend like maybe either cutting cords with these people or those situations or those parts, like that past of you, part of your life, or trying to kind of like do a meditation where you see those things and you forgive them. You see those people and you forgive them, and then you forgive yourself, right? And you're not forgiving them for them, right? You're not excusing their actions, but you're forgiving them for you so that you can finally move on. Say, I forgive you so that you can release the balloon that you were holding, right? It's like you let go of the string. Because if you don't forgive something, like you're just holding on to it this whole time and carrying it with you. But then when you're finally like, you know what? I forgive you. Goodbye. You know, you open your hand and you just let it go. So I feel like there needs to still be a little bit of, it's like you've proved them wrong. Yes, you did so great for yourself in that regard. But make sure that like you're not continuing to act out of ego. You've got to do a little bit of that final release, okay? And with this Four of Pentacles, again, it's like talking to me like with this, like you guys know, you're perceptive, you know who's in your life for who you are and who's in your life for what they feel like you can offer them, you know? Like who's genuine, basically. But I also feel like, yeah, you guys have really grown. Like even with the stingray, whenever I see the stingray, it makes me think of Kundalini energy. So that's like an ascension. And for an ascension, there is a death and a rebirth. And you guys have gone through a bunch of those. Okay, like you guys are really getting to a place where you're going to begin to thrive. okay? And I feel like, I also feel like you guys are going to be making some kind of new, whoa, y'all, you can't make this up. What did I just see? Where is it? Where is it? The bottom of the deck before I put the cards in, there was another Queen of Wands. I swear, you guys are like people will be attracted to you left and right, from side to side, like every direction. There's just something so magnetic about you. It's incredible. All right, let's get into the other messages. So we have Palikmana with Medicine of the Butterfly Kachina, sorry. We have the rattlesnake. The experiences that you're presently going through are an initiation into fulfilling your purpose as a healer. You know what? Actually, with the shells, I was kind of getting that vibe, right? Because I kept saying, like, you guys are nurturing. And when somebody goes through all those deaths and rebirths, and like there's this, their energy is so vibrant, or like it's so strong, it comes through strongly, and they have a big presence, and all of it, like this combined, and they're really nurturing and kind and caring, and have this feminine energy. It tends to be very healing feeling. Okay, then we have a kiwi. Do a walking meditation each day for the next week. Falcon. Act on the opportunity that's before you and commit to it without equivocation. Sorry. Star ancestor. Follow the voice of your soul. Ooh. Arrow. Wow. Surround yourself with protective energy. But arrow also points to direction. You guys have a lot of direction being mentioned here. Autumn. Release the old and rest. Yes, that's what we were talking about. The forgiveness, right? And then we also... Oh, is there enough space? Hold up. Okay, 1 second. We'll just bring y'all really close together. There we go. Okay, and then we have wise one. Grow within your current situation. So these are all the elemental messages. Then we've got this message from heaven. We've got don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. And then these are the messages from the angels. We have the ocean. The deep blue sea speaks to your soul, healing and soothing you. Even the act of imagining yourself dipping into its healing womb brings about desirable effects. Better yet, spend time physically near the ocean. Allow its power and beauty to wash away all cares and concerns. Okay. Then we have daydream. You will more easily hear and receive our messages if you daydream regularly. Relax and open your mind to receiving without directing your thoughts. Just notice any feelings, visions, or ideas as if you were watching a movie. This is the seat of creativity. And then, you know what? Something that actually I want to say before I reveal these other 3 cards, you guys, I just want to say, you guys are rebellious, okay? And I say you're rebellious because I kept saying I also feel like you guys are really passionate about justice, you know? And what I mean by that too is like people's rights, animals' rights, like it's like the, you know, you can't stand seeing beings being mistreated. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That took a moment to come out. But yeah, so that's what I'm feeling for you guys too, because of this like little rebellious nature that I mentioned with these 3 cards. And the reason that, and all those cards are honking as a conformation. And the reason that I'm mentioning this too is because when I was shuffling your cards, I was trying to like get a certain amount of cards, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, give me 1 card, and then 3 would come out, and then I'm like, give me 3 cards, 1 would come out, and I was like, okay, you just don't want to listen. So I feel like you guys are really like stubborn in regards to keeping like on your path and with the things that you feel are best for you. Okay, now let's reveal your final angel cards. We have Uriel with your gifts are needed in this world. Like another card talking about how special you guys are. Okay, and then we also have Wisdom of the Archangels. This is actually just like the cover of this deck, but I use it as kind of like a light being message. So this is like beings, it's wisdom from the archangels, but it's also this feline light being, star being. And then you have star ancestor here. So that's not a coincidence, you guys. You're probably the star beings here. The light beings, you know, the star seeds, that's what I'm trying to say. And like I was saying, your presence is huge. It's magnanimous, right? So, and it's magnetic. So, you know, it makes sense. Like you guys are from somewhere else too. Then we also have Michael with boldly go. Okay. So it's interesting because I feel like you guys are split a little bit 50-50. Okay. And what I mean by that is, first of all of you are so special. Look, you even have Anna, grandmother of Jesus, okay? This goes beyond like Mother Mary. This goes beyond Jesus. This is like, look how grand her presence is. And then all those people are so much smaller and she's just extending her hands. Don't dim to fit in. Again, it also touches on like, remember how I was saying there's still a little bit left over from the past, you know. So though you guys are in a much better place now, I still feel like there's residue, you know. So like though maybe now you're like 80% of the time in this new place, 70%, 60% for some of you guys, the other 20, 30, 40%, there's still that residue, right? So even for the 80% group, there's still 20% of that, like the forgiveness that needs to happen of that past for you guys. Because I feel like, again, though now you see you know that you are light more and all of this stuff, there are still a couple of old habits where it's maybe sometimes hard for you to still see that light within yourself. Because when you live as yourself, right, it's like whatever you do is normal. So you don't think, oh, wow, I'm like special every single day, because you are your normal, right? So we don't see sometimes how incredible we are. And I feel like they're just reminding you of that. With the ocean and the daydream, I feel like the daydream is kind of talking about like meditation to help you to regress back to those moments. In particular, in all of my videos, you guys, in the description box, I recommend a healing meditation video, right? It's like a healing meditation or like a recommendation meditation. It's always the same video in every single reading description box, because I really believe that video is super powerful and super helpful for emotional healing and release of the past, for people who have experienced like certain traumas, okay? So I feel like maybe you guys can check that out. That could be the meditation, because the daydream is really making me think of you guys going back to heal, right? Going back to those memories to forgive and release them. And the ocean is just reminding me or reaffirming for me, oh yeah, do a walking meditation. Yeah, even the Kiwi is talking about a meditation. So maybe, and it says for the next week, every day for the next week. So maybe you guys should do that healing meditation every day for the week. You know, maybe give it a try. See what you can get out of it. And also the ocean is like telling me like going to the ocean, or even in your showers, because water is purifying, right? It's cleansing. So it's almost like releasing to the water, letting it go. So whether you actually go to the ocean, or you can take a salt bath, or you're just taking a regular shower, you can visualize that water cleansing you too. But I feel like they're asking you to use the earth to help you cleanse, use nature to help you cleanse and to release, and use the water to help you cleanse, release, and forgive, as well as meditation. Again, y'all are the starseed group for sure. I feel like you were born with a certain sense of mission and purpose and direction in your life, and it kind of got a little muddled or lost when you went through your trauma, and really you're about rediscovering it, okay, right now especially. You were born with a certain sense of wisdom. You guys are extremely intuitive with all of those Queen of Wands that were coming out. And on the bottom here, we also have the Seer, see beyond the current situation. But look, this is another intuitive card, okay? Sorry, my voice just cracked. Oh, my throat is so dry, you guys, at the moment. So I may be taking a lot more water breaks in this video than in other ones. So give me one sec. Even with this message from Uriel, I feel like they're talking about again, and like, look at all these things that indicate you're special, right? Don't dim to fit in, because you have a beautiful, vibrant light. The grandmother of Jesus, right? Then you have your gifts are needed in this world. The wise one, boldly go. 2 starseed cards. And the snake, which the rattlesnake, also there's a spiritual quality. There's this essence. And then this card also makes me think of the heart chakra, and look at how big the butterfly wings expand past her head, right? Past her shoulders. This is the expansion of the heart. Like, you guys are incredible. You are healers. You are 100% light workers. You have a very big mission and purpose, and you're only going to shine brighter. But in order for you to be able to go completely freely onto your path, there's just a little bit more releasing of the past that you guys have to do. I know you've done a lot, right? But like I said, if there's still a little bit of bitterness, it's because healing still needs to be done. And if there's still a little bit of shrugging or shrouding your shoulders, you know, when you should be putting your chest out boldly, then you need to revisit the past a little too. Okay, guys? Yeah, with release the old and rest, right? So it's almost like do those things, release, and take a break to hear yourself, because there's a lot of rest stuff, right? With the ocean is relaxing, daydream is resting, meditations in nature, that's resting. So yes. Yeah, and then boldly go. It's almost like they're, again, with the arrow too, it's like pointing where you should be going, right? Wise one, follow the voice of your soul. It's like you guys are being guided, and the falcon has this bird's eye view, right? It's like you guys are being guided to kind of go for your dreams. Go for it, okay? Then we have the south node, the fourth, the number 4. Ooh, the number 4 again, 44. And Sagittarius. Oh, and there it is. Okay, Sagittarius. 44, that is the number of the archangels. You guys, you did get the most archangel cards and angel messages than the other groups so far. So I feel like you guys work with the angels very highly. Like, you guys, like I said, you guys are light workers, but I feel like the archangels are with you strongly. So if you've never looked into them, maybe this is like the time, maybe this is like the invitation for you guys to look into some of the archangels, you know, and see like who some of your guides are and who's working with you. Then we also have the south node. Again, I'm sorry guys, but it's talking about revisiting your past, okay? Talking about revisiting your past. And then with this Sagittarius here, it's about expansion. So you've done really well with expanding, but in order to like peek through this plateau or like this little glass ceiling, you guys have to revisit the past once again, okay? And it's not like long visits, but there's still some healing and release. There's still a little bit of release, like a forgiveness that's got to happen, okay? For you guys to really break through that ceiling and keep expanding, okay, guys? And progressing in your life. All right, group 4, well, group 3, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up, and I would appreciate if you supported the channel by subscribing as well. I would also love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. So if like what part like hit home the most? You know, like, is there something in particular that kind of brought you a little bit more insight, or you were like, oh, I guess this may be true, you know? Also, for those of you guys who are interested in one of my custom crystal bracelets or a personal private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website or through my email, which are all listed in the description box below. And that was it for your reading, Group 3. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you guys. Bye, Group 3. Hi, Group 4. This is your group if you chose the Unseen World Tarot. I just finished shuffling your cards. I haven't really seen basically any of them except for maybe like one or two that flipped open. Before we get into your cards though, we're going to do a message from the seashells. And I also shuffled out these, for every group it's been 3, but for you guys it's 4. I didn't even realize that. Aura playing cards, which we're gonna also look at together for the first time. But let me ring the singing bowl first. Okay, guys. These are the shells. I choose them intuitively. I kind of shift my hand around in here, and whatever I feel like vibrating on my finger or is giving me a sign. So don't think just because there's like a really big one here that I'm always picking the big one or avoiding the big one. It's just, that's just the way, you know, and I'm not going to be looking at them either. So when I put them on the table, I won't even be looking at them there until all of them are out and we're going to see them. I'll show them to you and I'll see them for the first time myself. Okay. Also, I just wanted to let you guys know in this reading, we're going to be looking at messages from the elemental realm, but we also have a couple of messages from the angels and like a message from the heavens as well. And off the bat, I kind of feel like maybe some of you guys are watching Group 3 as well, because to be honest with you, at the end of Group 3, I accidentally said, or almost said, Group 4. And when I was shuffling, a card flew out before it was time for it to flow out, so I had to put it back in the deck. But it made me think of Group 3, and I kind of got a similar vibe, like you guys have a very caring heart. So maybe some of you guys have 2 groups, you know, only watch what you feel guided to, but that could be the case, or maybe maybe you guys are just similar. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna do the thing with the shells. I'm doing it off camera so that I'm not rummaging through them too close to the microphone, so it's not like, you know, something you have to take your headphones out for. Okie dokie. Let's take a look-see. So we have, okay, we've got this shell. Oh, wow. Haha, that's funny. There is a J on this shell. So there's and a branch. You see that? You guys see the branch? So here's one shell. This is the other shell. Then we have this shell piece, and then we also have this one, And this one. Trying to show you the inside, but okay guys, so give me a moment. I'm gonna move them a little closer to myself just so I can see them. 1 second, you guys. Okay. I feel like you guys have been in search of something to, I don't want to say quench your thirst, but like some kind of a sense of fulfillment, you know? So you know how some people turn to God because they feel like empty inside, and when they turn to God or they turn to faith, they feel like that void has been filled. So I feel like there is something about you guys that almost there is this need to fill a void. I don't think it's as deep as filling a void, at least not anymore. But it almost feels like there's like that's what I was saying, like a thirst, right? Like it's an unquenchable thirst for expansion and growth, and you want to do this and you want to dabble in that and you want to dabble in that, and you want to experience this at some point in your life. It almost feels like you guys are you are used to spreading yourselves too thin and starting a lot of projects but not actually completing them. You know, it's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of a dealio. And you guys have a very pure heart, a very pure intention. I think that for whatever reason, there's a part of you that has a hard time sitting still, kind of staying settled. Maybe you guys are used to moving a lot when you were younger, moving around a lot, moving locations a lot, and you had to say goodbye to a lot of people or a lot of things that you cared about. So now you're constantly like, it kind of conditioned you to want to be on the road a lot, to want to be on the move a lot, to move from one thing to another, never fully committing 100% of yourself and your all into one thing, just so that you don't get disappointed in the long run. I kind of feel like that's the thing that is coming through the strongest for you guys with these shells. I also feel as though, what else is the message? I don't think you guys were ever really good at taking other people's help either. Again, it kind of feels like you've isolated yourself by diving into things, multiple things, and never committing to one. And it's the same for like relationships, like you're here and there, but it's like you're so used to saying goodbye that you just don't commit, you don't stick around, you don't stay consistently around. And it may not feel like that for you guys anymore, possibly. Maybe some of you guys are like, but I genuinely enjoy moving around. And that could be, and that is most likely the case, but I feel like you enjoy it because you were conditioned into it because of your experiences. You know what I'm saying? Okay, guys. That's the main thing that I'm really getting with your shells. So we'll set your shells to the side. And I think the advice being there would be, through all of those things that you've started trying to try, maybe instead of, because really if you spread yourself in one direction and the other direction and the other direction and the other direction equally, you don't move. Because you've got 4 things pulling you at equal strength. So you actually stay in the same place. You just feel like you're being stretched out too thin. right? But if you put more energy into one thing, you'll actually start seeing progress. So I feel like there's a little bit of, even though there's so much like activity in your life by diving into one thing and another thing, keeping yourself busy, constantly moving, I do also feel like there's a sense of stagnation, like you're not actually moving. And that's because you guys are spreading yourselves too thin with too many different things. If you kind of cut out like 3 of 5, like 5 things, you'll be able to start seeing, oh, I'm actually moving forward in 1 or 2 of them, you know, but otherwise you're just being spread too thin. Okay, now let's take a look at your cards. We've got the Jack of Spades. Sorry, the Jack of Spades. I said that right. The 8 of Clubs. 8. Whoa, I meant to say Ace. Sorry, guys. The 7 of Hearts. And the 4 of Spades. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, with this Jack of Spades, again, it's making me think of like you guys constantly moving from one thing to another. With the Ace of Clubs, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, but I feel passionately about this. And the 7 of, oh my goodness, because this is really like having the Knight of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the 7 of Cups, and the 4 of Swords. So again, like all of these three cards are main. I guess that's why you guys got 4. So there's a huge emphasis on the fact that you guys are constantly moving from one thing to the next, to the next. If something doesn't satisfy you, you say, I don't have to stick around for this, and you go. Like you don't tough it out. You don't see something through to completion. If something gets a little difficult, you're like, what's the point of me staying? And you have so many options, and it becomes overwhelming, but it's also exciting, and you have found a way to love the overwhelming sensation. Like, it's like sometimes you yearn for it because it's like keeping you on edge. And on some level, I feel like it keeps you distracted from things that you really should be addressing within yourself. Sometimes it's almost like a form of escape. I also feel like with this 4 of Spades here, the fact that it's here, you know, it's a little separate from the others, because this is actually calling for some quiet time. It's saying that quiet time is healing. You guys are so busy filling your schedule with things and being overwhelmed and being tired, but saying, but I'm alive. It's like somebody drinking like 10 cups of coffee, you know, and they're like on edge. They're like, oh, I love the edge, you know? And it's like, the beings from the elemental realm are really, the benevolent beings are saying like, hey, take a break, relax, calm down. You don't have to do so much. You shouldn't do so much. Take a breather, okay? Have a quiet moment. In fact, this is a form of escapism sometimes. So what they're really saying is kind of stop running, okay? All right, now let's look into your actual like cards. So 1 second, you guys. I'm just grabbing them from the side. Oi. Okay. First, we'll start out with the tarot cards. So we have the Knight of Wands, the 3 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, the 3 of Cups, oops, the Queen of Cups, the 5 of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Fool, the Ace of Cups, the 2 of Wands, Scorpion, Bee, and Tarantula. And then we'll get into the other ones after. Okay. So I'm not the least bit surprised to see the Scorpion and the Bee down here, especially the Bee. But give me 1 sec, guys. Let's see what we've got first. What is the message from the elemental realms for group 4? Yeah, you see, like you've got cards that are seemingly positive and progress associated, and cards that are seemingly happy and emotionally understanding, but both sections are followed by cards that are hard or difficult. So I feel like with the Knight of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, again, it's like talking about you starting all of these different projects, right? The Three of Pentacles, it's like creative endeavors, like projects, creating, right? And the Knight of Wands, it's like passion, excitement. But the Knight of Wands is flighty too. The Knight of Wands comes in one way, goes to the other place. They follow their passion. They go on their whim. So the moment they stop feeling passionate about something, they quit. Or they move on to the next passion, like bringing thing, you know? So never really finishing something or completing something. Say, for example, you're passionate about learning French, right? But at some point you've been learning it for like 2 months and you're just like, it's taking too long. I feel like I should know the language already. So you stop learning French and you're like, oh my gosh, but you know what looks like it would be super cool to learn? I don't know, blanking here. Hindu, or Hindi, sorry, Hindi, not Hindu, Hindi. Is it Hindi? Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully I don't sound too ignorant. I'm pretty sure it's Hindi, right? Hindu is a person, like this person would be Hindu, but they are speaking Hindi, right? Okay, well, anyway, if you know, let me know in the comments. But the whole point of that was like, you're going from one to another, right? And you're just like, oh, this is great. But then you're like, oh, but this is too hard. It's taking too long to learn the alphabet. Yeah, no, I'm like changing that again. You know what I mean? But what this really leads to is like, because with the Five of Swords, this is like somebody seeking shelter. Oh no, I'm thinking of the Five of Pentacles. Well, the Five of Swords is ego. And the fact that the Five of Pentacles is the thing that came up in my mind, I feel like is significant too. It's like somebody who is constantly seeking. It's like you're forced out of their place for so long that they just kind of, yes, okay, that's the connection. This is like the combination of the Five of Swords and Five of Pentacles. It's kind of what I was saying in the beginning, right? Somebody who was forced to move around a lot when they were younger, and it made them change, so they felt like they had no home. So now they kind of turned into their ego, and they're like, well, I'm going to have the step ahead on this. And you know what? It's not that I don't have a home. I choose not to have a home. It's not that I was forced to move. I now choose to move all the time. Like, it's the ego's response, kind of like saying, oh, that stuff wasn't happening to me. I was actually choosing that stuff, you know, when the reality is that you were hurt by it, you never healed it, and you kind of just kept the pattern alive, but you changed the narrative. And then with the Three of Cups and the Queen of Cups, right, this is about friendships, connections, emotional connections, right? Oh, I have a great connection with my friends. They're so good. Like, I reach out to them once in a blue moon, but it's almost like, you know, no time has passed. But, and that's great and all, right? And you're like, yes, I'm totally emotionally fulfilled. This is exactly how I want friendships to be like. But really, what you're left with is the Five of Cups, which is somebody who's got two good things here, but a lot of the time you still feel lonely and alone and like you don't have friends because you don't reach out to those friends. And then you justify that by also saying, but I genuinely like not talking to them every day. And you don't have to talk to them every day, but you should talk to them maybe like for this loneliness thing, like more than once a month or more than once every 2 months. You know what I mean? I feel like there's just underlying things there. And you're kind of, again, changing the narrative a little bit. So sorry guys, but it feels like they are trying to call you out a little bit. They're like bringing out the shadows, right? They're like, this is what's really going on so that you can see what's happening and you can address it. The fact that you have the Fool and the Ace of Cups, though, and the Two of Wands, they're basically saying, like, you can change this around. That's why we're bringing it to your attention. Just so that you know, like, you thought you changed the narrative in a positive way by being more optimistic about what's happening. But it doesn't mean that you've actually healed the emotional, like, hurt that came with those experiences that you had when you were younger, that forced you into being this way or accepting or living like this, you know, or encouraged you into living like this. And Scorpion is also, it's like there's an association with healing, but it's also poison, right? And it's like somebody telling you to drink alcohol against your will, and then you taking the cup, and like your ego is like, I'm not going to show them my weakness. So you take the cup and you're like, actually, I love alcohol and I wanted to drink it anyway, you know? So it's kind of like that. Your version of self-defense in regards to these things, or the self-defense response that you developed, is actually just perpetuating the same type of hurt, just masquerading as something else, by keeping yourself busy and like in charge, you know, and super active. And it's almost like like somebody is holding you accountable at all times. Like you feel like the pressure of somebody holding you like accountable when there's no one actually, you know what I mean? Like it feels overbearing a little bit. Like you're also escaping from the pressures of the sensation of feeling like something is overbearing. You know what I mean, guys? Let's get into the other cards so we can get a deeper look here too, into any additional messages that they may have. Because really right now, the biggest thing that's coming through is they're saying like, hey guys, it's not that you need to completely change everything 100%, but maybe take a little bit of a pause and a break and cut out some of those extracurricular activities so that you can have a breather and see like where maybe you need a little bit more gentle, nurturing love, you know? Then we've got Lena with what must be shall be. Yes, okay. And you have Ladybug. This is the time of good fortune and abundance, so be willing to receive all good things in your life. Elk. Stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. Chimpanzee, use both your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem or get answers to your question. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. Yes, this is the defense we're talking about, right? This is the defensive like mechanism that we're talking about, with that kind of like I was saying, like it's just your ego changed the story, but it's the same story. Like they just changed the characters or the backgrounds. We have Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. And again, the fact that it's with Elder, the ancestral patterns, again, it's telling me like this is something that this is like it's not something like, oh, I've always been spontaneous. You've kind of been forced into this lifestyle, right? This lifestyle that you're currently in. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that it's been something that was put onto you. And that's okay, even if you like it now. That's okay, but it's important to note that it was pushed onto you. It wasn't a free choice. And since something was pushed onto you, that means at some point you were feeling like what you had to say didn't matter. What you wanted didn't matter. That's something that needs healing, right? Because that's something that stays with us. And we just don't realize, and then it starts manifesting in other ways. Then, as the message from the heavens is Mintakin, oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up. Longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Okay, what was I got chills, so many chills, oh my gosh. Longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Okay, you guys, that was literally what I was saying, right? With the whole thing with the constantly moving, but then saying, oh, but I actually like moving, but really you were forced to move. And then Same thing with like always having to leave behind friends. And so you're like, I actually like talking to my friends once in a blue moon, but then you also feel like you have no friends. So you're looking to belong. Oh my goodness. Okay, then the message from the angels, we have steady progress. We acknowledge you for the progress you've made in remembering love in your daily activities. We can clearly see the contribution you're making to the world through your thoughts, feelings, and actions of love. And we also have Cupid. We send great waves of love into your heart and mind, awakening your love for life itself. Your clear decision to accept and enjoy romance has triggered this reawakening. Allow yourself to spontaneously celebrate love in all of its glorious aspects. And you guys also have 3 angel cards too. You've got archangel cards. You've got Raphael with "You Are Worthy." We're about to get deep into this. Okay, Jophiel with "Before You Judge, Love." And Michael, "Honor Your Truth." Okay, off the bat, honor your truth. That's the truth that we were talking about with that like 4 of Swords energy, that 4 of Spades. This inner truth about the hurt that I think was just easy to gloss over or turn into an ego thing, right? You are worthy. Oh, you guys. Remember I was talking about the shell? It's like somebody that's looking to fill like a vacancy within themselves. Well, when somebody doesn't feel worthy, they're looking for things to validate them in another way, in other forms, right? And I think, like, again, I'm just going to keep using this example because it's the one that keeps coming up the most, but you can apply as it resonates. But like, again, if this child moved around a lot, right, and they had to lose friends a lot, they feel like their life is not, they don't have stability, right? There's a lot of unpredictability. And so the child now starts to think that they don't deserve, it must be them, it must be something, because that's what children, unfortunately, children tend to do that. And not just children, but I think on some level, humans tend to do that. They feel like they take on blame, they take on responsibility for the things that are happening to them that are hurting them, right? So the child now internalizes that as, I guess this is something I'm just not meant to have. I don't deserve to have a stable home life, friends that are around all the time. And so then the psyche tries to rationalize it, and the ego tries to defend this inner child and put up walls and boundaries by saying, ha ha ha, I never wanted to be around people that often anyway. Ha ha ha, I always like to move because I'm spontaneous and I get bored easily. You know what I mean? And it comes from this place of feeling like if you stick around too long, that thing is going to be taken away from you. Because on some level, there's a good chance that maybe you feel like you don't deserve it. And maybe that's why it was taken away before. Like it's not something that you're meant to have. A stable home life, a happy, close, intimate friendships. You don't deserve that. That's not something that belongs to you, that you can have because you didn't have it before. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're trying to address this kind of a mindset, this underlying, like a subconscious tone that is there, that has been going on for so long, like a broken record player that I think you guys just don't hear it anymore. You've like tuned it out. Okay? So again, it's like drop your shield, right? Kind of like open up and realize that this stuff is not because of you. Again, it's like you were conditioned into it, which means somebody else, your parents, your family, your guardians, sometimes it's a whole culture, has taught you to be a certain way. It's not your fault that you now have to kind of clean up the mess. It's not your fault. But first, it's important to acknowledge that it happened, why it happened, and why it happened, what the reason was for it happening, how you internalized that if you took on blame or if you started blaming yourself or something, and now see how it impacts your life, and then work on work on addressing that and just convince, like re-teaching yourself that those things aren't true, you know? And those are somebody else's beliefs. Steady progress, like, yeah, it may take a little bit of time, and though you have some progress in your life, it's like that ego part, that was, I think, one of your, like, there are layers of hurt, right? And I think this is like one of the core wounds for you guys. And I feel like it affected your love life, right? Because you, like, don't stick around, like, you get bored of people easily. You get bored. And that's like a self-defense mechanism of, oh, you know what? I've noticed it's been 3 months. It's time to run again. Because, hey, we're not used to staying somewhere for longer than 5 months. So let's just kick it to the curb now and look for somebody else. You know what I mean? So for some of you guys, it's that I think maybe you would lose interest in relationships or in people quickly. For others of you guys, you could have, like, not had many relationships at all because you're like, what's the point? I'm going to move anyway. I'm going to go somewhere else anyway. I've got bigger plans. I'm too busy. I'm learning French, Spanish, Italian, German, and Elvish or something. You know what I mean? I've got 3 business trips planned, and I have to go to the museum, and I have a dance class, and I must go to the park for my health. And all of the stuff that, like, you just fill up your schedule. I don't have time. You know what I mean? Let's see what else I'm getting here before we go into your final messages. And I feel like there's, like, for example, right, we were talking about how with this whole concept of moving a lot, not seeing friends as much, and how it was like running away. There's only a certain extent to which you will be allowed to run away. You know what I mean? There is a point in life where the universe is like, there's no more running. That's it. We gave you too many chances to stop. And so they kind of force you to stop running. So I think what they're saying is, whatever has to happen, it's going to happen. You'll stop running eventually. But we would like for you, like the elemental beings are saying, like, we would like to show you that you can try stopping running on your own, so that it doesn't take you being like uprooted by the universe in a harsh way to have that reality, like that reality check or something, right? Yeah. Let me see if I'm getting anything else. I'm gonna take a sip of water, you guys. And again, if you're having a hard time, by the way, again, just some advice. If you guys are having a hard time committing to something, then don't try to commit. Instead of running away, just kind of dig your heels in deeper. You don't have to continue having progress. Just maintain where you are, right? Maintain where you are for a few weeks, maybe a month. And then you can dig your heels out one at a time, and then take a step forward and dig the heel in again. It's going to be slow, because each time you kind of hold the pose, then you dig the heel pretty deep, so it takes a moment to, like, take it out and stick it into the dirt again. So it's going to take longer than just somebody who's walking. But you guys are so used to running, so, like, each time it's like, take a moment, stay in that same spot. Don't think about progressing further. Just hold the position. And then another step. You know? It's like you're easing yourself into it. As well. But you guys have a very blessed life too. I feel like there are a lot of miracles that have happened for you, like little things, like if there's something that you wanted, it just manifested for you. You know, you wanted the light to go green, the light goes green. You're running late to work. You need the train to come ASAP. The moment you reach the station, the station, the train is there. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are really looked after and taken care of. It's just, there's a little bit of, like, I feel like it's more than just the elemental beings coming through, to be honest with you. I feel like your whole guide, like your whole team and your whole spirit guide system, ecosystem, like they're all just coming through. They're like, please get this message across to group 4. Please. We want you to see that there is so much more for you in this incredible, beautiful life. And the moment you stop running, you'll actually stick around to see those incredible end results that you'd be surprised would like actually bring you a lot of joy and fulfillment. And it'll be all worth it in the end. Okay, let's get our final message with the dice. We've got Pisces, Mercury, 15. Interesting. That's the Devil card in tarot. And the number 8. Okie dokie. So, Devil card, insecurities, past ties, karmic ties. This is really making me, and it's also Saturn, right? This is really making me think of what we were just talking about with like those ego things, right? Like those fears, those subconscious underlying fears that put the ego into drive in the way that you're living life. Pisces also, it's like somebody who's not, I'm sorry you guys, I don't mean to be calling you out, but somebody who's not really seeing the reality of the situation. Like I feel like you guys, that's one of the reasons why you keep yourselves busy, right? That's why they advise like silence, meditation, calm, and just stop doing a lot of things and really sit with yourself to kind of get the clarity that you guys need. Mercury, again, that's communication, clear communication. And I feel like that's your guides really trying to come through and talk to you. And with 8, this is giving me also like a death, rebirth, transformation, kind of we're trying to help you bring about an end of a cycle so that you can really get the things that you want. We've been preventing you from really seeing your dreams fulfilled because you weren't ready. You wouldn't have stuck around for them. Like there would have been some kind of self-sabotage involved. So we've been holding back your true dream fulfillment for you to address this thing that would have sabotaged it if it had come already. So once you start addressing it and you're in the clear a little bit more and you learn how to like, it's not even learning how to walk, right? You don't have to be fluent in walking consistently in the same direction, but just like those steps that I was saying, where you dig a heel in, you hold and you dig a heel in, so there's still progress. You're not leaving. That's the point. They're waiting for you to get to that point where you can dig a heel in and wait a little bit and then take a step and dig a heel in and wait a little bit again. So you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to reach perfection where you're just walking the whole time. But we just need you to get there a little bit before we can really start granting those really big dreams and wishes, okay? So that they can actually stay in your life, so that you don't run away from them because you're worried that they're going to disappear, that it's too good to be true, okay? All right, group 4, that was your reading. I hope it resonated with you guys. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. I'd also appreciate if you supported the channel by subscribing. That would be really great. I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments. I know I use this example a lot with the whole like moving and the friends. So is that something that was true for you guys, or is it resonating for you in a different way? It's just, that was the example that came to mind that felt the easiest to get the message across. Let me move this here. But yeah, so I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. And also, if you guys are interested in a custom crystal bracelet or in a personal private reading, you can reach out to me through the contacts page on my website or through the email in my description box below. All right, you guys. And just like I told group number 3, I think it was group number 3, in the description box, I always link a meditation, like a healing meditation for a wounded inner child that I recommend to a lot of my clients as well. Maybe you guys can try checking it out. You know, try doing it a few times. Obviously not in a row, but like once a day or something. Try doing it a couple of times. Maybe for like a week, do it every day, you know. just so you can, because maybe the first time you do it, you may not get anything, right? Sometimes we need to kind of like do it a couple of times before we have a little bit of a breakthrough. Or maybe you get something the first time, but it's not going to be the only thing, you know what I mean? So you'll need to do a couple of more sessions. So maybe do it for like 5 days, you know, every day. And maybe that can help you guys to kind of start doing the hunkering down thing. Okay. Also, in the description, I'm going to write down a book, the name of a book. It's like a book on mastery. It's a super simple book. It's a super easy read. But maybe it could help some of you guys with the concept of kind of like long-term goals. It's all stuff that I'm sure you guys already know, but it's just, and the guy, he writes it in like super simple terms, you know. It is a little bit like of an older mindset because it is an older book. And again, it's only like 200 pages. But the way that it's all laid out by him, I think kind of helps the message to settle in a little bit more. So maybe you guys can try reading this book. And maybe it can help you guys too with some of the stuff, okay? And it's more so in regards to the concept of mastery and getting things done and kind of getting over this plateau, right? But yes, that was your reading group 4. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. I'm sorry for the fact that there was calling out. It wasn't me. That's just what they wanted to say. At least they tried to do it in a gentle way, you know what I mean? I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, group 4.